Hello comrades and welcome back to Ushanka Show, stories about life in the Soviet Union. My name is Sergei Sputnikov, although some people like to call me John Wayne Cheeseburger. And back in 1971, I was born in the USSR. Okay, so today we return to the topic of the Soviet housing, and we're going to talk again about Brezhnevka style apartments. My brother was kind enough to record second video. If you missed my first video, please check the video My Brezhnevka. So let's go. So in this video, you'll see what you find inside of the entry into the apartment building. It's a 9-story apartment building built in around 1980-81. And we will walk you through several moments that I think are kind of interesting to know, and you maybe learn something new. Right away I want to mention, so this is entry into our Paradnaya apartment entry. 36 apartments in this. Behind this door you see the number from 1 to 36. It kind of helps people to figure out, because you come to the end of apartment building and you're not sure is it the very first or at the very last. So to make life easier, people put the number like, hey, this is the very first Paradnaya, so you'll find apartments from 1 to 36 here. And on the bottom right, you see this little ramp. This is kind of new. We didn't have that ramp when the apartment was built, and for years, if people, we didn't have anybody handicapped in a wheelchair, but of course there was quite a few young mothers with the strollers, so they always had to struggle to lift their stroller over the steps. So that was added later. I already made a video a while back on this topic, how the handicapped people lived in the Soviet Union, and you're welcome to check it out. So here we step inside into an apartment building, and once again you have another, 6 steps. So if you have a bike or you have a baby carriage, it's quite a challenge. For a long time, women wait for some guy who comes in or comes out to ask for help. But later, unfortunately you don't see it on this picture, but right next to the stairs to the left, there is like this kind of ramp that can be lifted out of the way or laid down if you want to push the stroller up. So that was added by people who lived there, wasn't a government designed device. Okay, so there's pink tiles on the walls. It's a new thing. I never had that when I lived in this apartment building in the 80s and 90s. Several years ago, there was a big sport events going on in Ukraine, as well as other European countries. I can't recall what it was. Maybe it was a soccer competition, but apparently there were some funds provided by European Union to do some facelift of the Soviet era apartments in Kiev. So the outside on the entry, they put those tiles in, as well as inside, but it's only first floor. Above, it's old, same old. And right behind that little wall that sticks out, you see the blue metal boxes. Those are mailboxes, and they also brand new. They look much better than the Soviet era boxes, which you're gonna see in my next photo. I took this picture in 2004, so this is what the Soviet era mailboxes looked like. Of course, they got destroyed quite a bit. After some time between 1991 and 2000, there's just some people were just acting crazy, and they were just, destroying stuff left and right. I'm not sure what that anger was about. But yeah, they were just busting mailboxes, throwing, burning newspapers inside. Then later, people who lived in apartment buildings figure out they need to lock the entry door. Prior to that was never locked. And then situation improved, and of course then they got nice brand new mailboxes. But this is a sad look of the mailboxes from the Soviet era. So here it's kind of cute little detail. You see the elevator doors, and sometime in the past they had to replace one of the sides. They couldn't find the matching color, so they just installed whatever they could get their hands on. Otherwise, that's the original elevator from 1980s. And that's what, pushing, my goodness, 40 years, something like that, being in service. And our elevators were famous for people being stuck. And fortunately, when you live on the second floor, like my family did, we never used the elevator, quite rarely, so we were okay. You also see the remnants of some kind of advertising, and it looks like they used decent quality glue, because they never be able to scrape it off completely. There was a lot of issue, once again, in the late 90s, early 2000s, that people will be getting paid to glue this advertising all over the place, including inside of the apartment buildings, like on the elevator doors, on the walls. So that problem got fixed when they installed main entry door, which was electronically locked. So no people besides the ones who lived there could get inside. So you just saw how my brother got mail. Got mail, remember AOL? Back in the early 90s, when a lot of my friends began chasing girls, I started doing the same, but I was chasing girls in other countries. I was looking for pen friends, pen pals, and I was corresponding with a girl from Switzerland, girl from United States. So I got so addicted to this correspondence, and you're waiting for months for letters. So this whole situation when you open the mailbox, and it was always dim in that area, so you don't really see what's deep inside of the mailbox, kind of dark. You probably saw it. So you slide your hand in there, and you have this anticipation of, is there going to be a letter or not? Just that excitement. It's almost to the level when you slide your hand in the girl's underwear. That was that bad. I was so addicted to those letters, waiting for them. And of course, when you feel something there, that's like, oh my God, I got a letter. That's how you choose which level you go to. Once again, this apartment building is 9-story high. Kind of odd number to think about it. I'll tell you why in a second. But as we lived on the second floor, as I said, I hardly ever went in an elevator in our building. But when I went to visit my friends, and some they lived on the 5th floor, on the 6th floor, then you use elevator. I prefer not to because they were prone to get stuck. And the only other thing I remember, some hooligans, kids that had nothing else to do, and they would set these buttons on fire. You just lit the match, and then it's made out of plastic. So then you come inside of the elevator, and every button is just kind of charred, melted plastic. So that was a big issue for a while. So this rough-looking metal box is a вызов диспетчера, calling a dispatcher, I guess you can say it. So if you get stuck, you can push that button and tell which apartment building, which paradная the elevator is located, and they're supposedly gonna send help to get you out of the elevator. Fortunately, I never needed to use it, but sometimes people will be just bored and they'll push the button to chat with the lady who was on duty. You may wonder what that little can is doing on the steps, and that's someone is using it to have a smoke break. Some people smoke in their apartments. Of course, it's dangerous, especially if you're drunk and you lay on the couch, watch TV, and you smoke. But a lot of married couples, if wives are strict enough, they will send husband out, and some will smoke on the balcony, but still, smoke can get drafted back inside of the apartment. So other guys just go on the лестница, on the stairs, and have a smoke. So that's what my dad was doing. I think he tried once to smoke in the kitchen, like by the window, and my mom gave him hell, and since then he was always stepping outside. But some people actually have a nicer setup for the smoke break. So check this out. I took this picture in my friend's apartment building. It has a little bit different design, and they have these windows that quite low, and think about children. They can just open and jump right out. And this picture is like on the 5th floor. But this guy dragged his old chair and ottoman out of the apartment and got a can for ashes, and he just opened the window and have a smoke, enjoy the view, and relax. But once again, from the safety point of children, I'm surprised that not many children fell out of those windows. But yeah, that's a Soviet design. In Soviet Russia and whatever you can come up with. There's a general view of the stairs looking down. It's pretty narrow between the staircases, so it's hard to fall through. In older buildings, it's way wider. So of course, this is how you can toss someone down in the well and to break their necks. But in these apartments, it's pretty tight. But still, you can manage to fall if you want to. Back in the day when the entries to these apartment buildings weren't locked, this staircases were a popular place for youth to hang out. Since young people didn't own cars, we didn't have clubs or cafes really for young people to hang out. This is if the weather is crappy, or it's a winter, it's cold, the youth just will gather in the staircase, and they'll drink beer and hang out, play cards, make out with girls. And there's quite a few girls that lost their virginity on the stairs in these apartment buildings. I used to date a girl that admitted one time that, yeah, she was having fun with her boyfriend on the stairs, and then when she got back into her apartment, she realized that she just lost her virginity. So as I said, we live on the second floor, so my brother just took a ride, I think, like on the fifth floor, just to show you guys general layout. Each floor had 4 apartments. 9 floors, 36 apartments. Makes sense, right? So 2 apartments were 2-room apartments. It's when you walk inside to the right and straight ahead. Each way there'll be 3-room apartments. So my parents had a 3-room apartment, but here there's a little modification. So these neighbors made an agreement and they installed additional doors. So this door is before you go to the doors that go to apartments. So this way you can lock it and have little, like maybe hangers for your clothes, or put the rug and leave your dirty boots there before you actually enter the apartment. So that's kind of unauthorized modification that became quite popular in the late 1990s. And here you see abandoned, I can't say abandoned, it's retired in place. That's official term in English language. So this is a garbage chute. So there's a central pipe going from the 9th floor all the way to the bottom, to the 1st floor or ground floor. And you open that little chute door and you dump your trash. Now, back in the Soviet days, we didn't have trash bags at all. So everyone will have in the kitchen a little bucket where you throw your, refuse, usually just from kitchen, from cooking. And then you come here, you dump it. So of course, if it's not enclosed in a bag, it's nasty, right? So then in the morning, a trash person will come, open the door, and there'll be a pile of this nasty crap that he has to shovel and take it to the dumpster. And another problem with this trash system is that the walls inside will get, all the crap will get stick to it, food remnants, and then it will be, of course, rotting, attracting all kind of bugs, especially cockroaches, and that will be awesome traveling path for them. They have a lot of food and they can travel from floor to floor. So that was a really bad design, really poor system. So finally, when trash bags became available, pretty much everyone welded shut these doors. It's abandoned. No one's using this trash collecting system. But here also you see it's a storage for some extra sink and another can for smoker. And also you might notice that there are vinyl floors on the floor. That was installed by those 2 people that lived nearby. They're just trying to make it look nice. And they painted this abandoned trash chute because in other apartments they looked way more rough. So as you see, in this trash chute was welded in place. Just a rough, quick weld. No one bothered to paint it. So that was taken in apartment of my friends. And next you'll see the trash system that's still in service in Russia, Far East, Vladivostok. And it will show you how it works and how it looks on the bottom. So moving along, here you see another example of a common door that in the front of 2 other doors. So once again, you need to have agreement with your neighbors because you have to share the key. And this way you kind of prevent random people to actually even step inside and have additional small storage area. In some other apartment buildings, there was quite a large like entry in the front of those apartments, so people gained a lot of square footage, like you could store bikes there. But in our apartment, they were pretty small. I mean, probably like 4 by 4 feet, no more than that, about 1 meter by meter. I apologize for the poor quality of this picture from this screenshot, but the people on the floor below went hardcore and they actually put the barrier right next to the elevator door. So that little hallway where we walk toward the trash collector. They blocked all that, so they want to use just for themselves all that long hallway, which is pretty smart but illegal. And what you see here is electric distribution panel for these 4 apartments on this floor, and has electric meters. And we were taking our own numbers, so every month I'll come here, that was my job in my apartment, and I'll write down the current meter readings, then I'll subtract from the previous month's meter, calculate how much kilowatts per hour we used, figure out the cost times 4 capex, and then I'll take this kvitanция piece of paper and I go to the local Sberkassa, like a bank branch, and stay in line there for maybe half an hour if I'm lucky, for hour, for 2 hours if I'm not lucky, and I'll pay for electricity, for electric bill. Electricity was very expensive, 4 capex a kilowatt. I tried to figure out, it was pushing close to like 40 cents kilowatt an hour for the current American prices, so it's quite expensive. It's like California level. Okay, my friends, so this concludes. There is another long and boring video about Soviet apartment buildings. Once again, it's a Brezhnev era, 1981 circa built apartment, and how it looked inside. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. By the way, the cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. Just a friendly reminder that my book American Diaries is available on amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet Union.